Pulau Pinang LRT project gets cabinet green light. SC issues revised guidelines on capital market intermediaries. Good evening and salam Malaysia Madani. You're watching Malaysia Tonight. I am Olivia Nicholas. Transport Minister Anthony Locke said that the cabinet meeting last Friday has agreed to approve the development proposal for the Pulau Pinang Mutiara LRT line project. Locke said the government has decided to appoint a mass rapid transit corporation, Sdn Bhd MRT Corp, a company wholly owned by the Ministry of Finance, incorporated as the project developer and asset owner. Locke said the Pulau Pinang LRT is slated for completion in 2030, with construction for the project set to commence this year.
Jemaah Menteri telah meluruskan cadangan pembangunan projek LRT laluan Mutiara Pulau Pinang. Secara rasmi, kerajaan telah memutuskan untuk melantik MRT Corp, iaitu sebuah syarikat 100% milik Menteri Kewangan diperbadankan, MOF Incorporated, sebagai pemaju dan juga pemilik aset, project developer and asset owner untuk projek LRT Pulau Pinang.
He said with this decision by the cabinet, the federal government officially takes over the Pulau Pinang Mutiara LRT line project from the Pulau Pinang state government. On the 6th of May 2023, Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim announced that the federal government had agreed in principle to finance Pulau Pinang's inaugural LRT venture, with the Mass Rail Transit Corporation appointed as the project manager. 35 routes representing 13% of total 264 rapid KL bus routes in the Klang Valley, including the Mass Transit Flow MRT feeder bus routes, will commence operational alignment starting today. Rapid Bus Sdn Bhd Chief Executive Officer Muhammad Yazurin Saljil clarified that this alignment signifies the company's enduring commitment to improving service quality, which includes phasing out buses that have reached their maximum lifespan.
Especially sebenarnya laluan yang impacted tu kebanyakannya adalah laluan utama yang mana memang frekuensi dia 5 minit ataupun 5-8 minit macam tu kan. So impact dia kepada laluan utama ni mungkin dalam 1 hingga 5 minit lah impact dia. Dia punya waktu menunggu tu akan kita punya frekuensi tu akan bertambah 2 hingga 5 minit.
Muhammad Yazurin stated that steps have been taken to expedite the implementation of various action plans to ensure minimal impact on passengers. He noted that it involves adding 164 buses from external companies collaborating with third-party bus operators to meet daily operational needs and operating 20 demand-responsive transit vans starting this May. The government is already allocating 37.6 million ringgit to cover the cost of toll waiver in conjunction with this year's Adil Fitri celebration. Deputy Works Minister Dato Sri Ahmad Mazlan said that as such the government has no plans to extend the 2 days of toll exemptions as previously announced.
Kalau kita roundkan figure itu lebih kurang 38 juta. Dengan perkataan satu hari itu 19 juta ringgit yang dibayar oleh kerajaan melalui Kementerian Keuangan kepada 33 syarikat konsesi.
Yesterday, Works Minister Dato Sri Alexander Nantalengi announced that the government has approved a 2-day toll-free period on the 8th and 9th of April for Class 1 private vehicle users on highways in conjunction with Adil Fitri this year. On another note, Dato Sri Ahmad Mazlan said that Plus Malaysia Berhad Plus anticipates approximately 2.1 million vehicles will use its highways daily during the festive holiday, namely on the 5th, 6th, 9th, 12th, 13th and the 14th of April, compared to 1.82 million during regular peak days. He said Plus will also mobilize over 4,500 personnel throughout its highway ecosystem to ensure quick response during this festive season. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussain issued a public reminder for all parties not to take matters into their own hands and violate the law over the Allah Socks case. Everyone has to obey to the country's law, he said, as he urged the public to allow the police to determine the lawful course of action.
Kalau bolehlah, tadi saya nasihatkan supaya tak ada lagi isu-isu begini dimainkan. Ini akan mendatangkan kegusaran, mendatangkan ketidaktenteraman, mendatangkan isu-isu perkauman dibangkitkan agama, satu perkara yang tak baik.
Tan Sri Razaruddin said this when commenting on the Molotov cocktail attack on a KK Mart outlet in Perak on Tuesday. The incident is believed to be linked to anger over the sale of a pair of socks bearing the word Allah at a KK Mart in Bandar Sunway, Selangor. Still ahead in our business segment, Malaysia's reserve assets at $114.28 billion at end of February. The Securities Commission Malaysia SC has issued the revised guidelines on conduct for capital market intermediaries aimed at elevating the standards of professionalism and integrity of the capital market intermediaries CMIs in the industry. It said the revised guidelines, among others, reinforce the role of a CMI's board and senior management in inculcating a corporate culture that prioritizes clients' interests. The guidelines also clarify the SC's expectations on CMI's duty to act honestly and fairly, as well as avoid misleading and deceiving its clients under any circumstances. New chapters are introduced to address crucial areas such as treatment of vulnerable clients, as well as provision of personal advice and capital market-related services. SC Chairman Dato Sri Dr. Awang Adik Hussein said the revised guidelines signify the Commission's efforts towards fostering trust, integrity and client centricity in the capital market industry. He is confident that these enhancements will not only elevate standards but also reinforce investors' confidence in the capital market. The revised guidelines will come into effect on the 1st of October. Malaysia's official reserve assets amounted to $114.28 billion as at end of February this year, while other foreign currencies assets stood at $202.69 million. Bank Negara Malaysia BNM said the detailed breakdown of international reserves provides forward-looking information on the size, composition and usability of reserves and other foreign currency assets in accordance with the International Monetary Fund's IMF Special Data Dissemination Standard format. It also provides guidance on the expected and potential future inflows and outflows of foreign exchange of the federal government and BNM over the next 12-month period. Overall, BNM said the detailed breakdown of international reserves indicated that as of end February, Malaysia's international reserves remained usable. It also said that for the next 12 months, the predetermined short-term outflows of foreign currency loans, securities and deposits, which include, among others, scheduled repayment of external borrowings by the government and the maturity of foreign currency Bank Negara interbank bills, amounted to $16.33 billion. The net short forward positions amounted to $22.59 billion as of end February, reflecting the management of ringgit liquidity in the money market. An official of a global business services company has unveiled a 9-point comprehensive plan to develop midsize enterprises in Malaysia that can value add their products and services and increase their contribution to the country's gross domestic product. Altark Limited Managing Director Gregor J. Scott said that moving among the key components of the plan are strategic labour development and vocational training to upskill workers and bridging the critical funding requirements to develop mid-sized enterprises. The strategy involves leveraging German expertise in mid-sized enterprises known as the Mittelstand to initiate this sector in Malaysia. It will introduce and nurture a mid-sized enterprises ecosystem in Malaysia which could transform the economy as these companies can drive technological innovation with the ultimate aim of enhancing the country's competitiveness on the global stage. The plan includes facilitating partnerships between Malaysian and German businesses, encouraging technology transfer and promoting vocational training and education reforms to prepare the workforce for higher skilled jobs. Kerana Research has maintained an overweight call on the construction sector ahead of the rollout of various mega public infrastructure projects such as the Mass Rapid Transit Line 3 MRT3, Bayan Lepas Light Rail Transit LRT, large-scale flood mitigation projects as well as the new Pan-Borneo Highway packages. It said the 45 billion ringgit MRT3 or MRT Circle Line will provide connectivity to the existing MRT, LRT, monorail and train lines in the Klang Valley through interchange stations, while the 9.5 billion ringgit Bayan Lepas LRT will help to ease the chronic traffic congestion on Pulau Pinang Island. The others are the rollout of 6 flood mitigation projects reported to be worth 13 billion ringgit, including flood mitigation works at Sungai Johor, the construction of the Sungai Klang-Sungai Rasau dual function reservoir and the Sungai Golok integrated river basin development phase 3. Kerana Research believes there will be enough jobs to go around for all players. It is unperturbed by a lower gross development expenditure of 90 billion ringgit in budget 2024 versus 97 billion ringgit estimated in budget 2023, as the government can tap into Dana Infra National Berhad to fund the large-scale public projects on an off-balance sheet basis. Malaysia has the potential to become a leading supplier of feedstock for sustainable aviation fuel SAF production in Asia-Pacific region via collaboration with international partners to enhance capabilities and optimize the supply chain. MIDF Research said Malaysia also has the potential to play a role in the global SAF market, leveraging its abundant feedstock resources, established a biofuel industry, government support and solid partnership with oil and gas players. However, the research said addressing challenges such as competition with conventional fuel as well as other industries that sought similar feedstocks for its clean fuel endeavours, technological constraints and environmental concerns will be crucial to realising this potential and establishing Malaysia as a key player in SAF production and distribution. Within National Energy Transition Roadmaps initiatives, Malaysia adopted the International Civil Aviation Organization's net zero carbon emissions goal for aviation by 2050 and targeted up to 47% SAF blending by 2050. MIDF Research believed recognition as a major feedstock supplier could place Malaysia in a pivotal role within the SAF environment. And now we move on to the next segment of our bulletin, On the Table. Over to you, Brandon.
Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome back to On the Table, where we discuss current issues making the news. So the Central Database Hub, which is called PADU, a centralized system to record the people's income data for subsidies and assistance, ends this weekend. And despite the effortless campaign, as of yesterday, only 8.79 million citizens are registered with PADU. So there are calls to extend the deadline, but economists may not agree. As we inquire further on this matter with today's guests, with us via video call, we have Putra Business School Economic Analyst, Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Razman Abdul Latif. Dr. Razman, welcome back to the show. And Doctor, first and foremost, right, with regards to PADU, now there are calls to extend the deadline. Previously, we had issues with people getting themselves registered with PADU. First and foremost, Dr. Razman, what is your opinion on this matter?
Well, thank you for inviting me. It is a very hot topic right now as we are nearing the end of the campaign. And if you look into these issues, why there has been call for the extension of the deadline, because as rightly you mentioned, probably less than half of those are supposed to register just managed to do this as of yesterday. And if we looking into the white men, it means that there's a possibility that those who did not register might miss out on the subsidies and assistance. Right. And therefore, this is the reason why there's a call to extend the deadline. But I have read the latest statement by Economic Minister Rafizi. He did say the deadline will not be extended, but there will be a possibility of another window or opportunity for those who meet the deadline to do so, but it's not in the near or next, probably not in the next couple of months, but probably when the government has started to finalize their plan for targeted subsidy program and roll out assistance based on the PADU database. So what we are seeing now is that the government is really keen to kickstart the project, the targeted subsidies, because delaying it will mean that many people will not get the assistance as what they deserve. And if you look at the intention by the government, we cannot extend for the sake of few who did not take time to fill up in the first place. Right. So what I'm looking at here is that the deadline going to stay, but there will be some window of opportunity later once the subsidy program has kicked off.
When we talk about this window of opportunity, why is there such window of opportunity right here? Is it because that, yes, the government wants to make sure that everybody enjoys this targeted subsidy with regards to savings by the government themselves? Would you agree to this statement?
Yes, because we have seen when we have the current subsidy programs, there are lots of leakages, wastages, and we have seen how even those who did not supposed to receive that kind of assistance, they are the one that are benefiting the most. We just a simple example, around 95, the T20 actually enjoying like 35% of the subsidy. So because of that, it is better to start with the targeted subsidies, because not only those that deserve it will get such assistance, but the saving from this exercise will ensure the government to able to beef up the assistance given to the people.
Right. Now, in layman terms, the T20, unfortunately, they feel that they are being punished or penalized. Would you say that this is the case?
I don't think they are being penalized, because if you look at current initiative, especially like tariff for water and electricity. If they are able to consume efficiently, then they will not be subjected to the higher tariff, even if they are in the T20 bracket.
Right.
And of course, when talking about T20, they of course they are paying the tax, but they still have higher disposable income than the rest. So that does not mean they will suffer like the rest. Where if you look at the B40, their disposable income probably less than 100 ringgit per month. So they still T20 still have enough cash to spend, to invest, and the tax rate for T20 also actually still a competitive rate compared to other countries. When we look into those countries in Europe, their tax rate is actually more than 50%, and we are not even reaching 30%. And another thing is that when something, if unfortunate things happen to them at this T20, let's say they lose the job or they suffer some calamity, and the government through this PADU database will still be able to help them. So meaning while they are doing okay, it's okay. We should give the assistance to those who deserve. But if they have problem later in life, PADU will be there to help them.
Right. Now, Prof, there's a possibility that the low registration drive was due to pockets of societies, particularly rural areas, who are probably not too keen and not too well informed on this nationwide effort. Some folks are going to be left out, right? Your thoughts on this? And you have already mentioned that, yes, they will be left out. And you've just talked about this window where they could get themselves accounted for. So would you say that as much as there's this window, if they miss out on this window, they're done?
Yes, because I've been receiving actually lots of calls, messages from people, even from the village area, where they have all these concerns. They do not know what it's all about. They have this fear whether their personal information will be shared to third party. But actually, the main reason why low registration drive among those in rural areas because of the way we need to update our information in the system itself. Basically, first you need the internet connection. And of course, part of the registration process require you either to use a device connected to internet, basically your smartphone, or go to the counter.
Right.
So if you don't have a smartphone, then you have to go to the counter. And where exactly is the counter? Because if you look at the urban area, you can find this counter in a major shopping center or public places. But when you are in rural, so where exactly is this? So that's why I think the closing of the deadline, perhaps efforts need to be stepped up between the federal government, state government, local council, community center, and village head to ensure that when the next window is open, they know exactly where to go for such registration.
Now, this campaign and initiative is, of course, meant to reach out to the actual deserving Malaysians or targeted subsidies recipients, right? So does this mean we are doing away with categories such as B40 and M40?
Yes, because even Minister Rafizi already said this, that B40 and M40 is too simplistic to disburse the assistance or subsidy to the people, because if you look into the kind of data that we need to fill up in the PADU database, they want to make sure, even if you are in the M40 bracket, but if you earning just above 4,000 ringgit and you have more than 5 kids, for example, living in KL, and you have other dependents living with you, like your parents or your sister or brothers, and you have to travel far to your work, then you definitely need assistance, because the average household expenditure in KL is already more than 8,000.
Right.
So by registering the PADU, then the government will be able to allocate these assistance, these subsidies, even to those households that are earning more than 4,000. And that's why I don't think we're going to revert back to this classification of M40, B40, but more on a case-by-case basis, based on the data that you have shared in PADU database.
Right. Now, there could be some sort of concern and fears right now, because once these targeted subsidy groups are identified, they might be worried that cash aid wouldn't reach them. It wouldn't exist in their dictionary. So do you think once these targeted subsidy groups are identified, do we still need direct cash aid moving forward?
I think we still need this direct cash aid, because when we look into the targeted subsidies, it's only for basic product and services. And of course, they still have to pay, even though it's subsidized, they still need to pay for it. Plus, there are any other type of cost of living that they need to bear, like probably rental, and because of this, cash assistance is still needed. However, the method itself probably can be improved, not necessarily the actual cash, because once we have given them the actual cash and we transfer to their bank, we do not know whether they're going to spend to the intended purpose. So because of that, I think I still prefer some form of mechanism like electronic voucher to allow them to use it only at particular retail or maybe if they need to pay the bills for the government agencies or other retail agencies. So this is something that I think preferable, because not just it will ensure they spend on what they're supposed to spend, but the government also can actually monitor such spending. Because once everything on electronic basis, then it's easier to monitor and control.
Right. Thank you, Prof. And unfortunately, we're running out of time. But of course, one final question. What about addressing issues like reducing hardcore poverty in the country? So is focusing on focused subsidies a solid solution, or do you think there's a need to do more?
There should be a multi-pronged approach, and this is actually what government doing, because we're talking about focus subsidies. These are for the affected group, like B40. But when we're talking about the hardcore poverty, there are different strategies that are being taken by the government, such as to ensure how can they be upgraded outside of this hardcore level by maybe by ensuring the head of a household to earn decent wages, so that they can start to have higher income and eventually able to sustain the household. But most importantly, at the national level, we need to reform the monetary system urgently by championing alternative to debt financing. Because just last week, I think our finance minister stated that our household debt stands at 1.53 trillion ringgit, which is equivalent to 84.2% of GDP, which has increased from 82% in the previous year. So this kind of debt status at our level is alarming. And because of that, we're talking about addressing this, having a focused subsidy is not enough. There must be a reform to the whole monetary system of the country.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Fortunately, we run out of time. There's so much to talk, but you have already pinpointed what's important for not just you and I, but nationwide, everybody here in Malaysia, to understand more about PADU. Thank you so much, Doctor, for your time.
You're welcome.
That was Professor Dr. Ahmad Razman Abdul Latif. He's from Putra Business School, Economic Analysis, and Associate Professor from that particular school.
Thank you, Brendan. That wraps up Malaysia Tonight. I am Olivia Nicholas with Brandon Lepore. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Thank you for watching. RTM, teman setia anda.